Hey everybody, my name is Chuck Charbonneau. I am a software engineer, and more importantly for this conversation, I am a huge TTRPG player. I've been playing tabletop role-playing games since I was 8 or 9 years old. I'm currently 51, and every time something helps me organize all of my thinking and all of my gameplay, I'm always looking at it. And as the forever DM, I also take copious notes and do a lot of world building. Enter Obsidian. I am a huge fan of Obsidian and have been using it for over a year now, maybe closer to 2. And some of my first experience with it was seeing videos from Nicole Vanderhoven and how she uses it. So one of the first vaults that I downloaded to experiment with was hers, and her vault included the use of the buttons plugin, and if you've ever seen her work, and look, if you haven't seen her work, go and check her out. Her content is fantastic. She has great conversations with other people who think about second brain work, who think about good note taking, who think about information and data and learning. And so I can't hype her channel more. That being said, her implementation of that vault for keeping session notes included this implementation of the button plugin. Well, Sam has stopped supporting button, and he's making recommendations for other plugins to use, and they're not as fluent or easy to set up. I would have to code something to kind of extend the other plugins to do what I want to do this simple thing of click the button, use a template, get a session note ready for the next play. So rather than learning TypeScript, because I haven't learned TypeScript yet, it's not something that I do every day. I'm exposed to it every day, but it's not something I needed to learn. I went out and learned it. And so if I have to learn TypeScript, I'm going to make it specific to my task and not fix somebody else's code. And so what I did is I created a plugin that is less generic as the button, but it's a session manager. And so in the original vault, when you set up your vault down here, you set up folders in the TTRPGs folder. Each one of these folders is assumed to be a campaign. You put the world template in there. It creates a button. You update it with your information, and it just worked until it didn't. And so here's what I have done. I've created a plugin that you click the button, and it assumes that your campaigns are set up under the TTRPGs folder. So it says, all right, well, what folders do you have? Here we are. We have Quarantine Cohort, which is one of the tables that I set up during the quarantine. And the last session was set 95. The new session is session 96. We have the fight with Imrith. We give it a session title. It looks at the front matter. It makes some assumptions about what front matter you're using. I personally use World Thread Chapter so that I can keep my notes and sessions and everything more tightly bound as I'm doing world building. It pulls the front matter and says, well, the last one was this world thread session, so we'll just assume that that's correct. You can update the location if you use location data. It'll pull the FC end tag and enter it as the FC date. So the end of the last session is the start of this session. If the end session front matter doesn't exist, it just uses the FC date. And it uses this category for the calendar. I actually use a calendar because my world I run actually 3 tables. All 3 tables are intertwined in the same world. And so I have the huge campaign. I have which meets twice a week. Twice a month. There are 9 players at it. It's a huge table. We started during COVID, and we've been playing ever since. The second table was for a smaller subset of players from that table that wanted to play more frequently. We play every Thursday night for a couple hours each week, and they are so in the main campaign, they started this little side hustle called the trading company, and then we decided, well, it'd be easier if we just hired people into the trading company to help guard the trade, and those became the new characters for the new group. And then that was a great pattern, and so when I started a kids campaign, we used that shtick to kind of hire those players into the game, give them a reason without having to do the random we meet in a bar, and kind of push them forward. And so that helps me keep things organized. So those 3 tables are here. And so I keep that all on the same calendar so I can keep timelines organized better, so I can see who's where and when certain events happen, so that when we align things or when there's communications, we know what's happening. But anyway, this helps me do that. So when I click create session, we get all of that information now loaded into the front matter, and we get a new session down over here. Anyway, the plugin is currently stable. I need to write better unit tests for it, but it is not published because it seems it's pretty much a one-trick pony. But if this is something that is interesting to you, if you do use Nicole's template or process or front matter for your campaigns, if you've invested in that, let me know. I'll share it, and we can make it useful to more people. Thanks for your time.